Uptown Athens is shut down this evening for more Halloween celebrations. California wildfires send new areas into panic. And in sports, Ohio football had a battle against the last unbeaten team in MAC play. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Ben Schwartz. Thank you for joining us. According to the Athens News, a 17-year-old girl, Nelsonville teen girl, is facing a charge of delinquency in Athens County Juvenile Court. Excuse me, this is a he. After a video of him punching another student in the face went viral. The victim is a 14-year-old Nelsonville York Middle School student with multiple disabilities. Please be advised to those who are sensitive to violence, this video shows footage of the incident. The video shows the high school girl repeatedly hitting the middle schooler in the face in the middle of the aisle of a bus. Athens County Prosecutor Keller Blackburn said that the charge is the same as an assault charge in adult court. The Nelsonville Police Department is still investigating, and additional charges could be filed against the girl or others. Ohio schools can now apply for their share of $10 million in school safety grants for the 2019-2020 school year. Public schools, charters, and schools operated by county boards of developmental disabilities are eligible to receive either $2,500 or $4.49 per student, depending on which amount is greater. The money can be used to improve active shooter drills, school safety training, equipment, and training to identify and assist students with mental issues, among other initiatives. And West Virginia officials say 400 school buses will soon be recalled. The move comes along with increased concerns that the bus's seat backs may lack sufficient cushioning to prevent injuries. A nationwide recall is set to begin in December, with Education Department spokeswoman Kristen Anderson saying the state's bus dealer is locating the affected vehicles. Most will stay in service until then. Some Ohio lawmakers are saying they hope to prevent numerous vehicle crashes by gradually installing rumble strips down the center of some roads in the state. Ohio State Representative Timothy E. Ginther is the chief sponsor of the bill, requiring the State Department of Transportation to add strips on all undivided two-way highways with speed limits higher than 45 miles per hour. The Federal Highway Administration says rumble strips have reduced two-lane road crashes by about 45% nationwide. 6 people were arrested Saturday during the annual Athens Halloween block party. The Athens Police Department arrested 4 people and OUPD arrested 2. All charges were alcohol related. Athens County Emergency Medical Services responded to 7 calls, with 5 people ending up at Oblenis Hospital. Athens Deputy Service Safety Director Ron Lucas said in a press release that the city approached Halloween differently this year by focusing on family-friendly activities Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m. The block party ended near 11:30 p.m. And today in Athens, Court Street is shut down once again, this time to accommodate trick-or-treaters. The street is closed off as of 6 o'clock tonight, with trick-or-treating set to go until 7:30. You can find a schedule of trick-or-treat times in town leading up to Halloween at AthensOhio.com/events. And now let's head over to...
Hello, I'm Adelaide Carwish, and while those trick-or-treaters are having fun out in Court Street, it's been a beautiful day so far, and it continues to be beautiful as right now. 70 degrees, humidity at 43%, pressure at 30.03. So it's just a beautiful day, especially for those trick-or-treaters. As we'll get to later, Halloween's not looking too well for them. So right now, all around the southeastern Ohio area, 67 in Columbus, 69 in Chillicothe, and 70 in Athens, 73 in Ripley, and it's sunny all around. There's almost not a cloud in the sky, as we see here tonight. 47 degrees. It's going to be A clear night is going to be cool and calm. The wind's coming out of the east-southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. So it's going to be a cooler night so far, as it's going to be only 47 degrees. So bring a coat if you do plan staying out a little bit later than the initial 7:30 end time for this, for the trick-or-treaters. But it will be a pretty clear night outside, and it will be calm, really no wind. And Ben, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Adelaide. Killed trying to save a life. An Ohio community is grieving the loss of a local firefighter who died rushing to the rescue of 2 people following a car crash. That crash happened Sunday morning, but it wasn't the impact that killed 2 people and injured 2 others. They were all electrocuted by downed power lines caused by that crash. Emily Hamilton reports.
Community in mourning after a selfless act of bravery claimed the life of 23-year-old Brett Wilson.
He's been working hard for his dream. He enjoys helping people, and he loved the fire career. He's a young man just getting started in his career, and we had an unfortunate mishap this morning.
Jim Colin says he was sound asleep when he heard the unmistakable sound of a car crash near his front yard.
When I jumped out of bed, got dressed, came out here, and right here was just a ball of fire on the road.
That crash just before 3 a.m. Sunday snapped this electrical pole in half and brought down power lines with it.
I've never seen electricity of that caliber ever. It was just so intense.
The driver and passenger both got out of the car but came into contact with the downed electrical wires. Brent Reisler, the passenger, died from his injuries. Brett Wilson and his girlfriend Hannah Gallagher heard the crash and rushed to help, but they too were shocked by those power lines. Wilson, a firefighter at Columbia Station, died after being electrocuted.
This was his love. His dream was, to me, he went out as a hero.
And it speaks volumes. I mean, to come out and do something in the middle of the night, and from what I understand, he just arrived home and without hesitation just came out to help, and that's what happened.
Hannah Gallagher, the other Good Samaritan, as well as Keith Lidke, the driver of the car, were taken to the hospital. No word yet on their conditions. Kentucky State Police say a man was killed in a house fire early this morning. 63-year-old Randy L. Hallmark of Henderson was pronounced dead at the scene. A female who was also in the house was able to escape in time. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And a family of 7 is safe, but the home is destroyed after it went up in flames early yesterday morning. The house was a 2-story brick structure with a full basement. Officials say 11 people were inside the home, and all 11 made it out before fire crews arrived on the scene. Officials still do not know the cause of the fire. Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine says it's highly unlikely that the last execution scheduled for this year will be carried out, as the state struggles to find lethal injection drugs. DeWine reiterated his concern that drug makers might cut off supplies of medications to state agencies if they learn any of their drugs were used for capital punishment. This means James Hanna, whose execution is set for next month for killing his cellmate in 1997, will likely be put on hold. Lawmakers are continuing to work towards a potential settlement in lawsuits against Ohio State by men who collectively allege 2 decades of sexual misconduct by a now deceased teen doctor. Nearly 250 men are plaintiffs in about a dozen lawsuits against the university over its handling of former teen doctor Richard Strauss. Many of the plaintiffs allege that they were fondled during medical exams and say school officials knew of concerns regarding Strauss but failed to stop him. Thousands of acres of recreational and conservational land in Ohio may be used for oil and natural gas drilling. The Columbus Dispatch reports American Electric Power will retain surface rights to more than 31,000 acres. It's selling to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for $47 million. AEP spokesman Scott Blake says no active fracking is underway on the land and that the company will work with the state to accommodate that activity if the situation changes. Marshall University has lifted its suspension of a sorority after an investigation found insufficient evidence of hazing and drug use. The West Virginia College announced on Friday that it has removed its cease and desist order against the Delta Zeta sorority. The sorority's national chapter was notified about the suspension and took part in the investigation at Marshall. The university released a short statement on Friday saying the sorority has had its rights and responsibilities reinstated. Thousands of people in California are being forced to evacuate. After the break, how first responders are working to get a massive wildfire under control. Plus, the impeachment inquiry into President Trump is facing resistance from the White House. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
What's up? My name is Joseph Hennessy. I am the host of the 21st season of Gridiron Glory. We are super excited to be back on the air. Make sure to tune in every Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WOUB PBS, and make sure to keep up with all of our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and on Snapchat. Now, just a couple of these teams. Did Jackson come out of the FAC? Is River Valley the dark horse? Who knows? Make sure to keep watching. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit from the 1990s.
This story is the most widely misunderstood story in America.
Go with throttle up.
How the Challenger disaster affected the way we think about risk.
I will regret always why I didn't break the door down.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the brilliant colors of our planet, revealing an amazing kaleidoscope set in a world that is vibrant, surprising, and changing, created by nature and humans. Discover our planet's incredible spectrum of colors as you've never seen it before.
Nature's journey into the Okavango continues. In this realm, water connects everything. To survive, you must adapt. From elephants, the architects of this Eden, to the endangered predators. No one can predict their fate in this river of dreams.
California is under widespread fire warnings across the state and thousands of firefighters on the ground. In the north, the Kincaid fire has burned more than 66,000 acres. Meanwhile, Connor Powell is in Los Angeles, where the Getty fire broke out there overnight with the very latest.
California officials across the state are taking this fire season very seriously.
It's a dangerous season right now.
Firefighters are preparing for that next wind event that's coming.
The Getty fire, just the latest wildfire to break out in the state, started overnight next to the 405 freeway in Los Angeles, quickly consuming more than 500 acres.
We have over 500 firefighters that are on the line right now in some of the most challenging topography of Los Angeles.
And as the fire forces some road closures, officials are urging residents to be prepared to leave at a moment's notice.
If they say evacuate, evacuate. If you are in the areas for a potential evacuation, get ready, get set, and if you want to go, go now.
Others working to evacuate some of the animals in the area as quickly as possible.
We have on any given day 60 to 100 horses, and they are all leaving.
Along with the Kincaid fire in the north, the Tick fire near Santa Clarita, and a number of other fires, tens of thousands of acres are burning in California. And all coming during a time of extremely dry conditions and very high winds.
We have not had any significant rainfall for a period of time. So that's why we're very, very concerned about these weather conditions.
In Los Angeles, I'm Connor Powell reporting.
The House will vote this week to formalize the impeachment inquiry. Nancy Pelosi wrote a letter to colleagues today discussing the next steps going forward as the administration tries to block witnesses and withhold documents. This announcement follows Charles Kupperman failing to show up for a scheduled hearing. Kupperman filed a lawsuit asking a federal court in Washington to decide if he is legally required to show up for a subpoena hearing. Representative Adam Schiff spoke today about the legality of this lawsuit.
The lawsuit that Dr. Kupperman filed in district court has no basis in law. A private citizen cannot sue the Congress to try to avoid coming in when they're served with a lawful subpoena. We expect that the court will make short shrift of that argument, but nonetheless, we move forward.
More fruity and candy flavors may have an impact on vaping habits among young people. That story's still ahead.
And coming up next for weather, it's going to be a clear couple of days, but the rain is in the forecast. I'll tell you more later. And now here's your stats of local interest.
The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit from the 1990s.
This story is the most widely misunderstood story in America.
Go and throttle up.
How the Challenger disaster affected the way we think about risk.
I will regret always why I didn't break the door down.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
Next time on Finding Your Roots, A-list entertainers with family secrets.
Oh my God.
Christopher Walken.
This is stuff that I'm hearing for the first time.
Carly Simon.
Wow, that is amazing. This is such an eye-opener.
Fred Armisen.
What? Why hasn't anyone told me this?
Will their ancestors' true identities redefine who they are?
He looks like a tough customer.
It's like a movie. It is like a movie.
Finding Your Roots.
Nature's journey into the Okavango continues. In this realm, water connects everything. To survive, you must adapt. From elephants, the architects of this Eden, to the endangered predators. No one can predict their fate in this river of dreams.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the brilliant colors of our planet, revealing an amazing kaleidoscope set in a world that is vibrant, surprising, and changing, created by nature and humans. Discover our planet's incredible spectrum of colors as you've never seen it before.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Right now, 70 degrees, and it's a perfect day for all those trick-or-treaters outside. Humidity at 43%, pressure at 30.03, and winds coming out of the northeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. So it's been a quite beautiful day. We'll take a look all around southeastern Ohio. Athens at 70, New Lexington at 68, Columbus at 67, and Chillicothe at 69. So all around a very beautiful day, almost not a cloud in the sky. Taking a look at the U.S. temp map, you can see this jet stream coming down, letting all this Arctic air coming out from the west. But you can see over here in the Ohio Valley area, it's pretty warm in the yellow to maybe some green areas, but it's pretty warm outside. Like I said, it's been pretty consistent in the 70s, 60s, 70s. Tonight, we're going to see 47 degrees. It's going to be a clear and cool night. It's going to be calm, not much wind. So make sure you do bring your jacket if you do plan staying out pretty late at night. But it will be clear, so don't worry about any rain or anything. Taking a look at tonight in southeastern Ohio, 47 in New Lexington, 46 in Columbus, and 53 in Ripley. So all around, anywhere from the mid to low 50s is your pretty much lows for tonight. So it will be pretty cold, but it won't be too bad. Tomorrow, 70 degrees, and it's going to be partly cloudy. It's going to be mostly sunny early with some clouds starting to decreasing late in the day. Winds coming from the southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour, so it shouldn't be too bad in terms of the day. It should still be quite beautiful. If you do like going outside and take it for a walk, this still will be another beautiful day. But we looked all the way around in southeastern Ohio, New Lexington at 69, Columbus at 67, and Chillicothe at 70, and Jackson at 68. So like I said, all around, anywhere from the upper 60s to lower 70s is your normal highs for tomorrow. We take a look at the precip map, and we're going to take this look, and we're going to see this cold front start to move through here. This is for tomorrow. It's still right around Cincinnati, still in the Indianapolis area, still in Indiana, not really hitting Ohio just just yet. And we take a look at Wednesday. That's when the rain starts to come, and you're going to start to see this move through. And what we're going to see on Wednesday, that it's going to start out pretty cloudy on Wednesday, and then it's going to turn into rain later in the day. It's going to be cloudy early with rain later in the day. Winds coming from the east at 0 to 5 miles per hour. It's still going to be a little warm with only 70 degrees as the high. And moving forward to your 7-day outlook, you see Tuesday with 70 degrees, Wednesday with 70 degrees, and Thursday pretty rainy with 66. And Friday, that's when it starts to get really cold. We go from 66 to 47 degrees, and it's going to be one day. But Ben, those warmer days seem to be over with the rain even coming.
Yeah, at least we got a few getting up into the end of the week. Nicer days, but doesn't look too good heading towards the end. Thank you for the forecast, though, Adelaide. A common anti-anxiety medication is being recalled. Mylan Pharmaceuticals is recalling some dosage of Xanax, the anti-anxiety medication alprazolam. The voluntary recall is for all bottles containing 500 half-milligram tablets. The company says they believe the medication could contain a, quote, foreign substance. Mylan says the bills were distributed in the U.S. between July and August. Pediatricians tend to not talk about guns with their patients' families. That's according to a new study published today that found doctors were more likely to bring up smoke alarm safety than gun safety. When doctors asked a question off a questionnaire, only about half the clinic's patients were asked about guns. That's compared to nearly 80% who were asked about fire safety. Nearly 5 million children in the U.S. live in a home with at least one loaded and unlocked gun. Vaping manufacturers are already facing criticism for marketing sweet flavors to young people. And now 2 new studies suggest their products' flavoring and marketing do have an impact on e-cig use among young people. Meredith Wood has a closer look at the twin studies in today's Health Minute.
Strawberry, candy, and bubblegum. New evidence supports the idea that those fruity and candy flavors may have an impact on vaping habits among young people. That's according to 2 recently published studies. The first one surveyed a group of high schoolers in Los Angeles. It found students who used fruity or candy flavors were more likely to still be vaping 6 months later and took more puffs. That's compared to the relatively few who vaped only traditional flavors like mint, menthol, and tobacco. The authors say the results show that regulations may help reduce youth exposure to flavored e-cigs. And the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is under pressure to issue a nationwide e-cigs flavor policy. The agency is also taking action against vaping companies for making unauthorized flavor products, making unproven health claims, and advertising that violates policy. A second study published in the same journal, Pediatrics, found that young people exposed to e-cig marketing were more likely to experiment within the following year. More than 70% of participants ages 12 to 24 who had never previously used tobacco said they noticed ads for e-cigs in the previous month on a variety of platforms. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
The Ohio Bobcats traveled to Muncie, Indiana to take on the last unbeaten team in the MAC, the Ball State Cardinals. Find out if the Bobcats were able to come out on top in the rain. Ohio also had a player awarded as MAC East Offensive Player of the Week. See his highlights from the game and hear who he credits for his success when Newswatch returns.
The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit from the 1990s.
This story is the most widely misunderstood story in America.
Go and throttle up.
How the Challenger disaster affected the way we think about risk.
I will regret always why I didn't break the door down.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Country music is truth-telling.
You can dance to it, you can cry to it. It has something for everybody.
If your own country betrays you, to whom do you then owe loyalty?
The images really blew our minds.
What we found was staggering.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/getpassport and find out how you can start streaming today.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the brilliant colors of our planet. revealing an amazing kaleidoscope set in a world that is vibrant, surprising, and changing, created by nature and humans. Discover our planet's incredible spectrum of colors as you've never seen it before.
Next time on Finding Your Roots, A-list entertainers with family secrets.
Oh my God.
Christopher Walken.
This is stuff that I'm hearing for the first time.
Carly Simon.
Wow, that is amazing. This is such an eye-opener.
Fred Armisen.
What? Why hasn't anyone told me this?
Will their ancestors' true identities redefine who they are?
He looks like a tough customer.
It's like a movie. It is like a movie.
Finding Your Roots.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Michael Roth. Ohio football took on Ball State on Saturday, and it was a battle between the top team in each division in the MAC. It was a gloomy and rainy day on the field, and those weather conditions would play a factor immediately as Ball State fumbles on their first rushing attempt of the game. That gave Ohio great field position, and the Bobcats would score on this touchdown run by Nathan Rourke to make it 7-0 Ohio. The Bobcats would take a 13-7 lead into the locker room before putting together a 9-play, 75-yard touchdown drive to open the second half. DeMontre Tuggle would find Pater to cap off that drive. Bobcats up 20-7. Tuggle would score his second Tuggle Tutty of the quarter on the Bobcats' next drive. However, the leader for Ohio was none other than Nathan Rourke. Air Canada was more like ground Canada in the rainy conditions with a season-high 127 rushing yards. For his efforts in the Bobcats' 34-21 win, Rourke was named MAC East Offensive Player of the Week, but he credits the perseverance of his linemen in the wet conditions.
Yeah, I think our front five showed. Actually, it was more. I gotta stop saying that because it's more than that. That our O-line today, I think, really asserted themselves as a dominant O-line in this league, and we had so many long drives. We were able to run the ball on them, and these kind of conditions that's so necessary and stuff like that. So they did a fantastic job. We rode them all the way throughout this game, and can't say enough about that group.
The Ohio football team wasn't the only team that traveled to Muncie to take on Ball State. The Ohio soccer team fell 2-1 in overtime against the Cardinals. That puts Ohio in a 4-way tie for third place in the MAC with 1 game left to play. All 4 teams have a current conference record of 5 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. Ohio has sealed a MAC tournament spot, but for the Bobcats to host a quarterfinal game, Ohio needs to not only beat Kent State, but also have Western Michigan drop points against Northern Illinois, or the Buffalo and Akron game needs to end in a tie. Road trips were the theme of the weekend for many Ohio sports, and Ohio volleyball went to Kalamazoo and DeKalb to take on cross-divisional foes Western Michigan and Northern Illinois. The Bobcats weren't able to leave with a win as Western Michigan beat Ohio in an intense 5-set battle. Ohio actually outscored the Broncos by 3 points. They just couldn't win 3 elusive sets needed for a victory. In the game against the Huskies on Saturday, Ohio dominated the first set, winning it 25-13. Ohio then proceeded to lose back-to-back sets by just 2 points each before falling in the decisive fourth set, 25-17. These 2 losses drop Ohio to 13-10 overall and 5-5 in MAC play. Ohio goes on the road again this weekend to take on Miami and Bowling Green. One Ohio sports team did stay at home this weekend, and that was the Ohio field hockey team. The Bobcats battled out against Miami on Friday, forcing a shootout after overtime wasn't enough to break the 1-1 deadlock. In the shootout, Miami would come out on top, defeating the Bobcats 2-1. Ohio then had their senior day festivities in the pouring rain against UC Davis on Saturday afternoon. Ohio fell behind 2-0 in the first half before Ohio senior midfielder Kendall Ballard scored a rocket of a goal. However, Ohio lost to the Aggies 2-1. That's it for sports. Back to you, Ben.
Thank you, Michael. A museum in Minnesota held a creepy doll competition ahead of Halloween. It showcased parts of their collection that don't normally get attention. I'm sorry, and that does it for our broadcast tonight. Have a great night.
This fall, it's a season of inspiration and revelation. Witness the power of education with College Behind Bars.
It changes your whole outlook.
It's hard, but it's rewarding. Discover new ways to look at ourselves in life from above.